Welcome to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. If you're on a mission to be more frugal with both your time and money, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we talk about topics that help enhance living a frugal lifestyle. The goal is to save time and money where we can so that we can use the rest on what matters most to us. We talk a lot about both time and money management so that we can waste as little as possible on both. We do this while also embracing a progress over perfection mindset. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the latest episode right after a few quick words from our sponsor. Hi everyone, welcome back to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Frugal Summer Fun. So for many of us, summer means nicer weather and often a change in our schedules, especially if you have children. And it's a time when we want to get out and go do things and get out of the house. But regardless of how much money you have budgeted for fun things to do this summer, you can definitely find some things that work for you and your family. So while many things we might want to do can be very costly, there are plenty of things that can cost very little. There are also plenty of ways to make more costly activities cost a little bit less. So today I'm going to share some tips on things to keep in mind to make sure you stick to your budget while also making sure to get out there and have some fun this summer. So in my experience, there is usually no shortage of things to do and events to attend for free or for a really low cost. But the problem is that many of these free events have many things for sale. They can often have expensive food or souvenir type items that can be purchased while you're at the event. So you want to make sure to consider the potential costs that you might come across at whatever activity you plan to do if you're going to be outside of the home. If you're going during meal times, decide ahead of time if you're going to purchase food at the event or if there are potential souvenir purchases available. Decide ahead of time if you would intend to purchase any, and if so, what your budget will be. It's also important to know yourself and your spending habits. If you know you are prone to impulse spending, you might want to avoid the types of events that have lots of spending opportunities if you don't want to be out there spending money. It's also important to get your family on board with your plans before going out on an adventure. You don't want to be out there with a bunch of people that think we're going to be spending a ton of money and your idea was to really not buy anything. So, of course, you have the ability to say no if it's children that are asking to make purchases that you didn't want to make, but it can make things a little bit nicer if the expectation of spending money is set before making a fun outing. Not so fun because you have to battle off requests to spend money the whole time you're out trying to enjoy yourself. And in addition to knowing your tendencies regarding impulse spending, it's also important to know your family's tendencies on impulse spending. So if you're going to a certain type of event that's going to cause them to want to spend money that you don't want to spend, maybe again consider doing something else that doesn't have as many temptations, because it can get really frustrating if you want to go out and do something that doesn't cost anything and then you have your whole family wanting to buy things the whole time you're there. So just know your tendencies and your family's tendencies and try and talk about the budget or your spending plans before you go out to whatever event you're going to be attending. So some ideas for some low-cost activities. Finding a new place to go for a hike. So hiking can be really fun activity regardless of the fitness level of your family. And many areas have great hiking trails for almost everyone. Some hiking trails are even handicap accessible, so they can accommodate wheelchairs. So this is an option that most people can take advantage of. And most of us feel great after spending a little time out in nature, and there's usually no cost to go on a hike. So this can be a really great activity, and hikes do not have to be long. There's plenty of short ones. There's usually so many different options depending on where you live. And finding a new place you haven't been before, it's just kind of nice to get out there and see something new, even if it's just for a short time. Another one is attending a local farmer's market. So depending on the size of the market, this can be a really fun day out. We have one market near us. It's very small and would probably take like less than a half an hour to kind of see all there is to offer. But then we have another one near us that has an enormous number of vendors selling everything from local vegetables and plants to homemade breads and pastries to local honey and many other things. So you can actually potentially use some of your weekly grocery budget to cover some of those purchases if you're going to be able to use them in meals. So you can kind of try and approach it that way too. And if you're trying to go really low cost, maybe just pick a couple of your favorite things and make a note of the things you'd like to try on another visit, so it gives you something fun to do on another day when you want to go out and have something fun to do. Another low cost activity, not super low cost, but pretty low cost, is seeing a matinee movie. If the weather isn't that great, going to see a matinee movie can allow you to see a movie at a lot lower cost than going in the evening. We used to go to this great movie theater near us prior to COVID, but unfortunately the one that we used to love going to did not reopen after COVID. I know I really should look into finding another one because there's plenty near us, but it was just like, we just always went there. It was perfect. It was just right across the street from Target. We would go to Target, stock up on snacks and drinks, and then go see a matinee movie, and it was really fun. So I kind of have to find a new one, but that was always a fun activity. And the movie theater near us had $6. It was like 11 a.m. Sunday morning matinee, and it was like $6. So like I said, depending on how many people in your family, it's not super cheap, but it's relatively reasonable if you're only doing it once in a while. And again, bring your own snacks and drinks to save extra money. Do it at your own risk. I know it's not totally, it's kind of frowned upon, but sorry, my family it was just too much. And I know that's no excuse. It's like, I don't know. Let's not go there. Anyway, if you decide to sneak in your own snacks and drinks, do that at your own risk. Anyways, so that's movies. Check out Facebook groups for local events. Even if you don't love being on Facebook, I would suggest using it just for finding local events. There are so many events advertised on Facebook that I would never know about otherwise. We recently attended a local art show at one of our state parks that we learned about on Facebook event listing. Yesterday, we went to a blueberry festival that we also learned about through Facebook, and it was at a park that I didn't even know existed, and it was really fun. So it can be a great resource to find local events that are often free or really low cost to attend, and you can get to experience things that you would have never even known about. And of course, there are even Facebook groups specifically for families looking for free things to do. So if that's something you're specifically trying to just find free events for families, check out to see if there's a local Facebook group in your area that covers those types of events, because there's definitely those available in my area where we live. If you want to go really inexpensive, just make sure too that you think about packing a lunch. Maybe make some sandwiches, bring some bottled waters and a snack. It does take a little bit of pre-planning, but it can really help save a lot of money. Another option is to consider maybe stopping at a convenience store or a local pizza place or deli to pick up some sandwiches and snacks. Of course, that's going to cost a little bit more than packing from home, but it's more convenient and fun, and it would be a lot less expensive usually than purchasing food at your final destination or at a restaurant. At the very least, bring your own waters, because water can be so expensive when you go out to these places. So even if you don't want to purchase food or bring food from home, maybe at least consider bringing some water. And then, of course, there are always so many fun options to do just staying at home without having to go find an event or a place to go. So I'm going to just talk about a few of those things that I have done and things that I think are fun just to do at home. And sometimes just doing a little something can make a night seem so much more special than if you don't do anything. So it doesn't have to be anything like major. It's just something about kind of having a planned activity can make it feel a little bit more fun than just kind of hanging around watching TV or whatever. So one idea is to have a game night or a game tournament. Of course, everyone always thinks to have a game night, but you can kick it up a notch and do a game tournament. That can be really fun. We did that one time with this game that we had. I can't remember what the heck it's called. It's got like these little magnet balls, and you hold this magnet from underneath, and you have to like get a goal on the other side of the board. I don't know, whatever, but we decided to have like a tournament for that. So it was like we set up like matches, and then there was like a winner at the end, and all during the week as it was coming up, I'm like, don't forget, we're having the tournament this Friday. So even though it was just like a simple little thing, you can kind of make it into something more fun and get people excited about what you're going to be doing that weekend. You can also do like a tasting party. If your family loves food, which I think most do, having a tasting party can be fun. Pick anything that you might like to taste. Some ideas might be chocolates or salsas or other dips or cheeses or cookies or brownies or pretty much anything that there's multiple varieties of can be used for a tasting. You can add some fun drinks and then you have a little frugal home event. Something that we're actually doing today, which I didn't think of when I was making the notes for this episode, is we're going to make a charcuterie board for lunch. So that's like our little fun thing that we're doing. Me and my daughters are going to Trader Joe's. I have a list from a website post that I found, and it had suggestions for the different items to make a charcuterie board. So it said, like, I don't remember, like say 1 to 3 cheeses, 2 to 3 meats, so many of this, so many of that, a couple of nuts, this and that. It had like a whole kind of checklist. And then also on the post, it had suggested items in those categories that could be found at Trader Joe's. So we're going to try that. One of my daughters asked like to do something today because she was off work and she doesn't usually get off on a weekend. And I didn't really want to go out again because it looks like it's probably going to be raining in our area today. And we spent the day out yesterday at that blueberry festival. So I was like, well, what can we do at home that would be fun to make it a little bit special? That's not going to cost a ton. Although going into Trader Joe's with my daughters can be a little bit risky because they always see things they want to get. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make a charcuterie board following these tips on this post. So that's another fun thing you can do that's kind of similar to a tasting party. Another idea is to plant some seeds. There are some seeds that are so easy to grow, and it can be really fun to plant them and care for them and watch them grow without having to have much of a green thumb. And this can be especially fun for young children, especially for seeds that grow pretty quickly. Some of my favorite really easy to grow seeds are nasturtium, zinnias, and sunflowers. They really germinate pretty quickly and they grow pretty quickly. So they can be really fun to watch, and they'll sprout and bloom all in the same season. So those are some great ones, and that can be definitely a fun frugal activity. YouTube trivia. We often have fun watching YouTube trivia on a variety of topics. We shout out the answers, wait to see who got the answer right. There's also like complete the lyrics type videos for all different music genres. Some of these videos can be really fun to watch and get the family involved. So it's not like you're just sitting there watching YouTube videos, which can be fun too. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, maybe check out some of the YouTube video trivia videos because they're really fun. They can be really fun to watch as a family. Another idea is just to have a picnic or barbecue in your backyard. Just the fact that you're stating that you're having one can make it like a little celebration. We did this a few weeks ago. One of my daughters said that she wanted to have a barbecue one night. We had hamburgers and hot dogs like we would have really kind of done on any other night, but by just adding a few extras like a big bowl of chips, some cute disposable plates and cups, put out some bottles of soda. It kind of turned it into something a little bit more special for very little cost. We all sat out on the patio together and had our special little barbecue dinner. And then, of course, lately it seems like there are national days for everything. So use these to your advantage to think of some fun little things you can do at home. It seems like there's constantly a new national day for some type of food. I remember it was recently National Popcorn Day, National Hot Pretzel Day, National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. And while some of these days can definitely seem a little bit funny, they're a great opportunity to add a little bit of fun to your week. For example, on National Chocolate Ice Cream Day, I stopped at Wawa and got 3 different Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavors that incorporated some type of chocolate in them for the family to try. It costs about $20, I think, but it made the night so much fun just to say, oh, guys, guess what? It's National Chocolate Ice Cream Day, and I came in with these 3 chocolate ice creams to try, and, it can make like kind of something feel special when it's just like a regular old day, just to add just that little tiny bit of something. So those can definitely be something you can take advantage of. So that's it. That for today. It's really just a reminder that you do not have to spend a ton of money to have fun. You can do little things to make days special. And that's what it's all about for enjoying this season and any season. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really appreciate you listening, and I will see you back here next week. So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.